And Walker insists that, the 5 white men of which he is supposedly scared or something, according to what he says to the police, they must stay there. It's absolutely mandated that they stay there.
Right. And in fact, he says that
so he's not surrounded.
They are making him unsafe.
Yeah.
He says that. Mm-hmm. Okay. So when I saw that, I thought, wait a minute. Maybe this is despite the fact that the biology that he reports doesn't make any sense, maybe this is a big story, but it's not the story that Project Veritas thinks it has. Maybe this is a story of incompetence and diversity, equity, and inclusion. Because the point is, on the one hand, he has said lots of biological things that don't add up. Okay. And on the other hand, he's in this reasonably high position at Pfizer, responsible in some way for something about mRNA, the exact topic on which he's saying things that don't add up. And then his first instinct upon being caught having said these things about his work environment is this is about race, and I feel unsafe, which he's obviously not.
His first instinct is, I was lying. But that doesn't immediately dissolve the situation. And so he makes it about race. He talks about not feeling safe. He goes there. He goes the place that everyone is being encouraged to go now, and often will completely shut down a conversation or a situation.
Right. So one possibility here is, as those who are in corporate environments presently know, there is all of this energy around ESG being environment, social, and governance, right? These supposed scores that allow you to evaluate how honorable a corporation is. It's a total nightmare and a debacle, and it's going to make the world much worse, much faster. But nonetheless, that's the claim about what these ESG scores are about. In a world where corporations are minding their ESG scores, and in which there are woke mobs everywhere, weaponizing HR departments and all of these things, there are going to be lots of people hired who are not qualified to do the thing for which they are hired in order to placate the mob with respect to demographics, right?
I don't know if this is the moment, but I've got a couple of pieces of evidence that is exactly going on at Pfizer.
Okay.
Not with regard to ESG, but with regard to DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So in an undated post on Pfizer's site, it has to be from the second half of 2021 or later, they celebrate their new hire, one Ramses Jean-Louis, who I may be mispronouncing his name. It's their new hire to lead the diversity, equity, and inclusion office. He's the global chief. He says, Jean-Louis says, I feel as if I've joined an organization that has the mentality and philosophy that nothing is impossible. When we apply that same urgency and attention to the area of diversity, equity, and inclusion, the possibilities are endless, says Jean-Louis, who started the job in July 2021. Equity has been one of our core values for a number of years now. It wasn't reactionary. It wasn't an impulsive response to the racial crisis that climaxed in 2020. Then he talks a little bit about having grown up in Brooklyn, his family's from Haiti, and later in the same post, they quote Pfizer's chairman and CEO, Albert Bourla. Quote, Pfizer's commitment to equity is all-encompassing and defines who we are as a company. It's about ensuring every person is seen, heard, and cared for, reducing healthcare disparities, and making sure that everyone has an opportunity to express themselves and bring their authentic selves into the workplace. It's also about holding our leaders accountable for living these behaviors every day, said Bourla. We are taking a data-driven approach to our equity commitments, and I am thrilled that RAM has come aboard to lead these efforts. A data-driven approach to equity commitments is a horseman of the apocalypse phrase if ever I've heard one.
Yeah.
So data-driven is itself a disaster, and for me, it's become a tell of, like, if you're a scientist, like, I'm all data-driven, like, I don't think you know what science is. Go back to the drawing board and bring me a hypothesis. But a data-driven approach to our equity commitments, they're just counting up demographic markers.
Right.
That's what that means. They're just counting them up and saying, oh, we don't have enough of this type. Go out and find me some of that type and bring them in. It's insane.
Right. So you've got evidence from inside of Pfizer that they're counting demographic markers, which implies the existence of a certain number of positions in which the person in that position isn't expected to be competent or doing anything.
It would be helpful,
I guess, but the fact is you've then got this guy who doesn't really seem to fit the seriousness of the position that he appears to be in